So, The Happy Song by Checkered Red. So what we've got here, we've got the kick with fairly standard EQ there. Just taking out a tiny bit of mid as well. Actually, that's a bigger bit of mid than you think when you have it at the right ratio. There you go. And a 70 dB high pass, high pass, sorry. And then full ratio compression. That's fairly decent compression just to tickle the transients and stuff. Then again, supremely happy with this kick drum sound. I think this was the first time I'd used the ATM 250 at all, and just had to basically put the markers around the side of where the sound happens. So 40 hertz and 5000 hertz, and that was it, with no compression on the sum either. So a very good kick drum sound all in all. Then with the snare drum, we've got the top snare with a few little spiky bits that needed taking out. I felt like they were just, I think they were harmonics. They weren't things that shouldn't have been there. They were just slightly too strong. So I decided I wanted to just take them down a little bit with some tight Q bell EQs, parametrics, and then some DBX compression as standard, some Pultec tricks, and a top boost at 10 kHz to get the rattles out on the top snare, and then finally a bit of transient to take down the. It's quite ringy, so taking down the sustain seems to be a good idea. And I'd already been to this plugin before with a few other things. It's actually quite useful, to be honest. Then we've got bottom snare 57, just with some compression, and then taking up the top end a little bit. Very simple. The rack toms gated, yep, and then we've got the supercharger on them, doing not much compression, mainly brightening up really, and a little bit of gain, and then pound hard left and right. As you can see, the rejection pattern, I was particularly impressed by the rejection pattern on the 41s. Just like you can see exactly where the tom hits are. So that was great. Although they should have been higher gain, to be honest, coming into the door. Right then, overheads. They're not particularly wide, but we've got standard Pro Q fab filter, just a little mid dip again, and LA2A doing some smoothing out work, the Fairchild emulation again doing more smoothing out work, so that's really just you can see the threshold is the time constant is the release, and that's quite high there. It's quite a high release. The high end being boosted again just for that sparkle, 12 kHz high end, and then sidechain to the kick again, because you want the kick sound to not really, if sometimes you can get things where the overheads are affecting the kick sound and making it not sound as nice, so ducking them out to the kick and just having the kick sound as is more direct and punchy, and then the ambience is a very simple setup this time. The room mic, just putting the markers around where the sound is, where I want it to be, taking down the top ends, and then fairly large mid cut. I think in this room there must have been something around the mid range that was kind of resonating or something for there to be this much cutting going on in the mids, and then some serious compression, 6 ratio, and then for the threshold to be down that far is fairly slamming. Then for this song, activator, slightly less scooped sounding, I suppose, than Thunder was. The Thunder emulation for this one. So Vinny's had a different bass tone every single time. But still with the 8x10 and with the ribbon mic this time, which calms down the high end somewhat, I suppose. Yeah, again, I'm calming down the high end there. Some direct signal, a little bit of drive. Compression to smooth it out, 8 ratio. EQ, it's literally just putting the barriers around the sounds, like this is the way I want it to take place. And then compressing it to the kick drum again. Piano we recorded this time. We recorded it in mid-side actually. So that was good. This one, it looks really weird, the mid-sides being this far apart, but I was equaling them out in volume, and that was where it came to. So a bit weird, but I don't know why that's happening, but it is. And then so really I've got that mixed in down to here with the 4-on-4. So I haven't got them as wide as they look, because obviously with mid-side, the more you push up the mid-side, the wider the stereo field gets. So it's actually if you take it at the level of this minus 24 dB, it's not actually that wide, the pianos, but they're there. And then a little bit more of a studio element to this, because we've got an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar. I like the sound of them both, so I kept them in. The band were debating whether they wanted to have one or the other, and I mean, they can still come back to me and say they didn't like it and they want one or the other, but it seems to have worked quite well with the piano in the centre and the acoustic off to the left and the electric off to the right. Let's try and do with the acoustic, just make it nice and gentle. Didn't really want this going on, and then just compressing it so that it's got more sustain. And then the electric was just the deal with that was just making sure that it kind of like shimmered. I didn't want it to stick out too much, just wanted to shimmer nicely and kind of provide like this ethereal layer. We did that. Then Bella's vocals, we've got just a low cut, followed by vocal rider, then LA2A. This is just smoothing out the vocals, and then a supercharger, which is giving you brightness, a little bit of compression, a little bit of saturation. I felt like the vocals needed saturation a lot of the time. And the same on here for indie, with some slight alterations in settings and things. So just based on the volume of the vocals, just trying to even them out. You know, so it's got a little bit more compression and a little bit less character. Less of the tone knob, and then going through to the brass effects, we've got. Let's just pull this up. We've got basically exactly the same deal. They seem to work well. Longer reverb on this one, and yeah, bigger room as well, with less pre-delay, but and then a slapback delay instead of a feedback delay. So that's kind of it's designed to give a slightly different sound. And then the same thing with the fat snare, really. I suppose in hindsight it could have gone a different way with this tune, but it's that's what they've been given, and obviously if they don't like it, they can come back. I think this setting works quite well in general with snares, although sometimes you do want the more R&B style long haul reverb snare, and the room sound. Subkick into compressor, same thing as before, and the compressors into being sidechain. The music bus is the same thing as before as well. And then finally the master. The master was fairly similar for all of these. I've got kind of what I wanted. In terms of, I knew I wanted the tape emulation, I knew I wanted the bass end in mono, I knew I wanted to kind of compress it and flatten it out, and that's happening consistently. This one big boost into the limiter, but I mixed it quite quietly. So again, I didn't expect these tracks to be hitting in between -2 and -4 dB reduction the entire time. This one is a gentle track, so I kind of just went for just getting it to the right volume and then leaving it there and only over tickling this on the occasional transient, not really doing constant work. And that's the full picture with this track, the Happy Song.